Welcome to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. I'm Rebecca Monet, CEO and Chief Scientist at Zoracle Profiles, along with Stacy Shannon, an advocate for entrepreneurship and the host of the Franchise Live podcast, who has generously offered to co-host with me today while Tracy Cow is caught up in a whirlwind called life. This is the second in a series of podcasts where we'll be focused on the many ways franchising gives back and makes a difference. So our special guest today is Lynlea Rudell. Am I pronouncing that right? Yay!
Rudell.
She's a director of marketing for Pool Scouts. She was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Lynlea grew up a die-hard LSU fan. As a competitive swimmer, swim coach, and lifeguard, Lynlea spent the majority of her early life in the pool. After receiving an undergraduate business degree from Elon University, she returned back to Baton Rouge, where she received her MBA from Louisiana State University. While working towards her MBA, she coached her alma mater. How do you say that, Lynlea?
Um,
See, I'm telling you, my tongue is all twisted. I love it. High school swim team and led them to win the Louisiana State Championship meet. Suffice it to say, Lynlea is a water baby. Lynlea has worked in marketing and advertising for 17 years, and she joined Pool Scouts in 2020 and is now the director of marketing, dedicated to growing the brand and helping Pool Scouts franchisees with their marketing efforts. She is most passionate about helping others achieve their business goals. She lives in Virginia Beach with her husband, Brian, and their two beautiful children, Paige and Parker. Wow. Water baby you are, Lynlea. Welcome
Yes.
to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm wondering, before we get into all that Pool Scouts is and what they're up to in terms of making a difference, give us a little history about this water baby in you. How did you get introduced to water? Just tell us all about that.
Yes, okay. So I've been in and around the water from the time I was pretty much born. My parents put me into swim lessons when I was 6 months old, and then I pretty much never got out after that. I joined the swim team when I was 3, and kept swimming until I went to college. So I just loved it from the time that I started swimming, and it was a great outlet for me to be a part of a team, and just loved it all, everything about it.
It's amazing. I can't swim, by the way, Stacy. So you're going to have to carry this conversation about the swimming.
About swimming.
I love water, though, and I boogie board and have for years. But I'm a really poor swimmer, so it's just amazing to me how you took to it so quickly.
So what does your swimming look like today? You talked about through
Yeah.
college. Yeah, so
Yeah.
are you still drawn to the water?
I am definitely still drawn to the water. I live a block from the beach so that I can
Oh,
be
wow.
in it all the time. I don't hit the pools as much as I used to, but definitely still in the water a lot. Yes.
Nice. Well, Rebecca, I'm not going to be able to help you a lot on the swimming aspect because I I love the water too, but whenever I jump into a pool or water, I have to plug my nose. So so it's
That's okay.
my husband would say my swimming will take me in circles. Yes, because I'll only be with one arm.
As long as you can get
Uh,
back up to the surface and float on your back, you're good.
Yes.
yeah, I made sure, Lindley, that my children and my grandchildren had swimming lessons because I agree with you. It's so important for safety and in this case, exercise, fun. There's a million reasons people should be swimming. But I was raised in a family, a very strict Christian family where girls didn't wear swimsuits. So I was not allowed in the water. Or I was embarrassed to go in the water fully clothed. So I made sure my kids and my grandkids, they're water babies.
Good, good.
For sure. Okay, so you started swimming very young. You went on then to coach. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was amazing. So I went to an all girls high school. So that's what I ended up coaching. It was 60 girls. So a really big team. It was one of the highlights of my life. That time was just phenomenal. Watching the girls improve, and getting them to the point that we went on to win city and state. It was a phenomenal part of my life. And the previous time we had won state, I was a senior in high school there. So
Wow.
so that was great too.
What a fun experience.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Really?
what
Yeah.
are some of those, what did you learn from I guess, a skill set or attribute standpoint as you were becoming a competitive swimmer that you've carried with you throughout life?
Swimming takes a lot of self-discipline and hard work. So I would say that definitely you're pushing yourself. Of course, you're swimming with a team and other people. So there's the competitive side too. You want to keep up because you want to keep, but it's a lot on you to keep going. There's a lot of times you're bored and you have to just push through. There's a lot of pushing through, um, boredness or tiredness or pain. So definitely that.
I hadn't even thought about that. I guess I always think of swimming as fun, but you're right. If you're competing, there's the training and the self-discipline and the pushing yourself to the next limit that really does those kinds of attributes or skills or whatever we want to call them carry over into all parts of,
Yeah.
of our lives, right?
And it really sets the stage if you think about athletes that become very famous, how they go on to be very successful business owners and transition out of that athletic life into becoming, even in franchising, multi-unit franchise owners and so forth. So yeah, unfortunately I was not an athlete, so I had to learn those skills other ways.
She was a beauty queen, Lynlea.
No,
Oh,
I
really?
I was definitely not a beauty
I was
queen.
gonna
I
say
would have
that's
had a better chance of being an athlete, I think. Oh, funny.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So, I have a kind of a left field question for you, Lynlea. You have this self-discipline, you have this ability to push through. When you look back at your life, was there anything that was an obstacle, something you had to overcome that you can share with us?
Yes, the first thing that comes to mind is I'm dyslexic. So that, of course, brought a lot of challenges in school and even just in communicating with people. And now I'm in kind of a field of communications, which is kind of ironic, but um, doing things like this podcast, like sometimes there's words in my head that aren't coming out of my mouth right now that I would like to articulate better, but that's definitely been a challenge throughout my life.
Wow. Incredible. How early on did you learn that you were dyslexic?
So my mom's sister was in the field of diagnosing children. So early on, she identified, by the time I was age 2, she identified there was something there. So my mom stayed on top of it, and pretty much as early as I could be diagnosed. I don't know if that was first or second grade, I was diagnosed. So yeah, that was helpful to know what was going on, and able to get on top of it and stay on top of it my whole life. Has definitely been helpful.
You're very fortunate that way. You did have family that recognized it
Yes.
very quickly. I mean, I know some folks that go years and, you know, never get the help that they need. And it can affect self-esteem and all kinds of things when you don't know, okay, my brain just works a little bit different than other people's. So this dyslexia, how has it positively and negatively? I'm prefer looking at the positive of it, the gift behind it.
I would too.
Yeah, let's look at that instead.
Yeah.
How has it affected you personally and professionally?
Yeah. So I think, I mean, I think they go hand in hand. In school, I always had to work hard. I just knew that I was always going to have to work harder than everyone else to get what I wanted to achieve, because I had very high goals and expectations for myself. So that meant I just was going to push through and do what I had to do to reach those goals. So definitely the hard work has translated to a good work ethic at the job I'm doing now and the jobs I've done prior to this. And I think that really that hard work and job ethic is really what has gotten me to where I am here today. So
So it's kind of interesting, Stacey. I'm listening, and it's kind of this combination of self-discipline from the athletic side, and then the neurological side knows that she has to work harder. So there's two parts of you really doing whatever is necessary to get you to a certain outcome. So willingness to work harder, willingness to get through those obstacles, and also this beautiful self-discipline that grew out of your athleticism as a swimmer.
Yeah, I mean, you just sound like, Lynlea, you just have this innate ability to just push yourself, given the
yeah,
dyslexia. And
I
then
want to bang my head against the wall, but like I have definitely learned to push through that and just charge forward. Yes.
so post your swimming career and, having learned to deal and manage the dyslexia and turn that into a positive, what did post or college look like for you, and then post college?
Actually, college was the as far as school wise goes, it was a lot easier than elementary and high school for me, for whatever reason. I think it's because I had those study skills and I had that self-discipline, that it was really easy at that point. And then you get to select what classes you're taking.
Yeah.
So right, you're doing something you're interested in, which makes it a lot easier too. So and then grad school was the same way. It was just kind of a continuation of college to me. I just got more specialized in what I was doing. So yeah. And then what was the rest of that question?
College and post college, like what? So how did you? What did you decide to focus on in college, and where has that taken you today?
Yeah, so during college, I went through a couple different majors, ended up taking a course called Exploring Majors to figure out where to go and what to do. And with that, you had to interview with all the different deans. So I ended up interviewing with the Dean of Business, and he convinced me to go into that department. So I went there, I focused on marketing. And then as a result, I really got interested in marketing, and that did turn out to be a really good fit for me. And what I decided, I was like, I want to be the brand, since I was a swimmer, I wanted to be the brand manager of some product related to swimming, some service or product related to swimming. So really was excited when the Pool Scouts opportunity came across, and ready to dive right in for no other better words.
Yeah, you did. You know, it's fascinating because so few people, I think, really know what they want to do. So for you to narrow that focus down so specifically, I want to be the brand manager of some kind of business that is into swimming. I mean, that's very, very specific. And
Yes, and I didn't think I would get here, honestly. I mean, I took the job when I was 40, so it took a while to get here, but I did.
hey, welcome to my world. I'm a late bloomer. I didn't know what I wanted to do till I was 50. So
There we go.
Yeah, I applaud you. I'm amazed listening to you because I definitely didn't have that direction at such a young age. And I probably, well, I'm living my passion now, which it's a beautiful thing when you're able to do that. And Lynlea, it sounds like, now that you're in this position with Pool Scouts, you've reached that goal that you set for yourself at such a young age.
Yeah. So now I gotta think of the next goal.
keep moving the goalpost, right?
Yeah.
The goalpost.
Yeah. So tell us about Pool Scouts for those of us that are listening in that may not know what Pool Scouts is. Tell us a little bit about Pool Scouts.
So Pool Scouts is a residential pool cleaning service company. We started in 2016. At that point, the pool care industry didn't have the best reputation as far as professionalism or reliability. So we really saw the need for that. And that's where Pool Scouts came about. We were going to be that professional choice, the brand name. Obviously, you expect reliability from Scouts. So that was very intentional. Pool Scouts as the reliable choice for pool care. And then our logo, which I like to call our badge of honor, really drives home that pledge of professionalism and reliability. So,
That's an excellent example, really, of branding because the word scouts it leads us to Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, doing what is honorable and filled with integrity and what is right and best by our clients. I mean, even that kind of branding is brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about it from that aspect. I mean, I'm familiar with Pool Scouts, but to give it that level of uh thought, I guess yeah, you guys have done a great job at branding. And I like how you said your badge of honor because once it really does look like that now. So
Yeah.
interesting.
So pools, you've been with Pool Scouts a couple of years now. Um, what is happening at Pool Scouts? What are future franchisees and current franchisees anticipating about the future in this particular market?
Yeah, so I started in 2020, right as the pandemic hit. And what happened in 2020 as the pandemic hit is everyone was stuck at home and building pools. So the pool industry kind of exploded right when I got here. So did Pool Scouts. We saw tremendous growth, um, right when everyone was thinking about pools all the time. So given that all these pools were being constructed and are still being constructed, the wait list is 2 years for people to get was 2 years for people to get pools at some point because the demand was so high. Now all those pools are in. Now they all need to be serviced. So we see a great future. I mean, we may deal with a little bit of a recession here in between, but overall the path is those pools aren't going away. They're in the ground. So they're gonna have to be serviced. One way or another. So,
I think one of the trends too, due to COVID, is people aren't traveling as much. They're not going to the beach or the lake or wherever. So to have something in their backyard, to cool off in the summertime and to enjoy, I could definitely see this industry continuing to grow.
for sure. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. And I live in West Palm Beach, Florida, and oh my gosh, the number of pools in our neighborhood and all of the different, and really, you know, as you mentioned earlier, it's more of a mom and pop type, or historically it was, that owned pool service, cleaning businesses. And so to create this national brand and the level of integrity and professionalism is amazing. You know, one thing in my business as a consultant and helping people with uh, you know, matchmaking and so forth to different businesses, one thing that is interesting to me, and maybe you can shed some more light on, is the seasonality of this business. Because a lot of people do, and from a marketing perspective, you know, how you attack that. Because a lot of people think, you know, up north that a business like this wouldn't survive,
Yeah.
given it's half the year, but whereas in Florida, it's a year-round business. So how do you see any concerns with your franchisees in that respect, and how do you address that from a marketing perspective?
So actually, we've brought in, we've launched 10 new franchisees this year, and they were from a variety of places. One was in Connecticut, one was in Detroit, one was in Salt Lake City, one was in Kansas City. So we have actually seen as much success in those seasonal markets as we have in the year-round markets. The seasonal markets add additional opportunity for revenue in the openings and closings, which are higher cost services. So it really does balance out. And so there we've seen our most successful franchisee is, of course, our first one, who's in Raleigh, and that's a seasonal market. So there's definitely as much opportunity in the seasonal markets as the year-round markets.
What a great question that was, Stacy.
Yeah.
And you know, what we're also seeing is prospective franchisees that are looking more for that work-life balance and greater flexibility. So it offers that also, right? Where you're not working, if you're in one of those communities or states or cities that is more seasonal, it offers some freedom that other businesses might not be able to provide. So
That's true. Yep.
I love it. Okay, I am dying to ask this question because we have you on the show to learn everything about you, but also I want to hear about Pool Scouts and their involvement in Hope Floats and how that works. And I mean, I always love hearing about companies that it's not just about profit, it's also about purpose. It's also about making a difference in the community. Could you address and tell us about Hope Floats and how Pool Scouts?
Yes. Yeah, so I'll start off with what Hope Floats is. The Hope Floats Foundation raises money for children to get swim lessons who couldn't otherwise afford it. So a little bit of background about what that is. Why water safety is important to Pool Scouts is, of course, we're a company servicing pools, so we think we want pools to be a safe, fun place for children. So that's kind of the tie-in there. And then, so we pick Water Safety Month, which is May each year, and we ask our franchisees to participate. It is an opt-in, opt-out situation, but we ask them to participate, and they give $1 per service the month of May towards Hope Float Foundation. And then on a corporate level, we give an additional donation. And yeah, so this year the results was $16,000 raised for 800 swim lessons. So we're very proud about that and happy to make an impact there.
That's incredible. I always love a brand that is focused on giving back to the community. And I know many individuals, when they're looking to invest in a business, it's important to them as well to be able to give back to the community. So that speaks really highly. And oh my goodness, not to mention the lives that are being saved by acclimating children at a very young age to the water.
Yeah, to create a love for the water, and in this case also safety. I was telling you offline, Lynlea, about a very dear friend of mine in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, had an indoor pool, family over to visit, 2-year-old literally took off like all toddlers do, and the worst possible thing happened. And I oftentimes thought, had they just had some safety lessons or, something of that nature, that child could have survived. So how do you partner, Lynlea, with local organizations that provide these swim lessons? How's that
So
process?
yeah, that's done on the Hope Floats Foundation, and they partner with different swim schools in all the local communities. So if a franchisee in Richmond participates, the money is going to go to that specific community that they raise. So they're able to give back directly to their local communities as well.
Got it. Got it. What, from your observation in the last couple of years, um, what's your observation about your franchisees being pulled together with a single-minded, we want to make a difference in the community? Do you see that it has them pulled together also? I'm just thinking, if I had a mission or a purpose along with many other franchisees, it would make me feel more connected to my fellow franchisees, that we're working
Yeah.
towards something.
Yeah, that's certainly our ultimate goal. And we had about 70% of the locations participating. So we had a really good participation rate. And this was our second year doing it. So hopefully next year will be even a higher participation rate. But yes, many of our franchisees really do care about giving back and get on board with it, and love the fact that we're doing stuff in the community in addition to the businesses and the services we provide. So
I'm curious so a franchisee participates in the Hope Floats Foundation charter. How is that communicated, or is it communicated to the customers that they serve in their community to share that goodness?
So for each of the participating locations, we created a door hanger that they left on their customers' doors so they would know, and then an email signature. So any communications going out to the customer, they would see it, and they'd see it there. And then some presence on their website with a landing page and an email blast to send out. So definitely communicating it on to the customer as well, so they know where their money's going and that it's going to a good cause and giving back.
It's a doing good while doing, now how is it? Yeah, doing well while doing good kind of feel to the business. I'm going to be excited to see, this is only the second year that Pool Scouts has been doing it, to see how it continues to grow, and if you end up doing even more things as it relates to making a difference, because I think Stacy is absolutely right. Franchisees, prospective franchisees in particular, are looking for ways to impact their communities and make a difference. It's not just about profits anymore. They want that, feel good part of the business. And this is a great program to get involved. So, Lynlea, advice. You've been 17 years, as a marketeer, you're with Pool Scouts. If you were to give some advice to a prospective franchisee, what would that advice be?
To a prospective franchisee, I would say to follow the system and do the marketing program. It'll work if you follow it. And yeah, that would be the best advice to give potential franchisees. Trust us. We're here for you, and we want to help you as much as we can. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question, Lynlea. So you have had this long career in marketing. from day one, once you knew you wanted to go into marketing, you knew you wanted to be aligned with a brand that was associated with pools or water, because of your passion and your history in swimming. Since you've been in this position and achieved that goal, how have you noticed a difference in your work and how you pour yourself into this role versus prior roles that maybe didn't align with that day one dream you had?
Yes, for sure. I will say when I first started and first got here, I was new to franchising as well. So it was a bit of a lot to wrap my head around. So I would say my first, year was just wrapping my head around everything. And now that I've kind of gotten better adjusted to that, then yes, I'm getting the reward. I'm on the reward side now and definitely more passionate about doing this than anything I have done before. So it's great. It's great to be here and be on this end of it and really, really passionate and loving what I do.
I think that makes such a difference when we get up every morning and we love what we do. It naturally has us more driven to do more of it, right? And it also increases our skill sets when we really love what we are doing. I want to point out too, to those of you listening in, Pool Scouts is known for their marketing strategies. It's something the franchisees talk about frequently. So when Lynlea says follow the systems, follow our marketing advice, there's good reason. It works. It's been thought out. So it's definitely something in the franchise space that's frequently discussed, is what a great job you and your team are doing as it relates to marketing. So great job.
Thank
All
you.
right. Final question, because we're coming up on the top of the hour here. If you had a theme in your life, something that kind of floats all the way through your life, what would that theme be?
It would be to treat others the way you want to be treated. It's how I've lived my life. It's what my mom instilled in me, and really something that I think about as I conduct my life, whether that's in business or personal life. And it drives me to make good, loving connections with people and yeah, just to care for people basically. And I think that can translate over to caring for our business owners, and then giving the business owners thinking about how you want to treat your customers, because at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for.
So true, isn't it? It's funny, when you were saying that, I was imagining almost like a filter or a set of glasses where everything I did was treat others like I want to be treated. And I kind of quickly went through a day in the life of Rebecca Monet, and I go, is that what I'm doing? Is that what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis? Whether that's a sales clerk, someone serving, a meal at a restaurant, my clients, my family, is that really what I'm doing? I think it's an interesting filter through that we should all be looking through in every interaction that we have, because it is a loving, it's loving, period. Right?
That kind of reminds me of a
Quotation mark.
Ted Lasso kind of.
Oh, I love that show. Yeah, but it is. I mean, I agree with you, Rebecca. It's a beautiful thing that each of us can sit back and reflect on. And, I would say 100% of the time we might not be there, but it's certainly a goal for everybody to work towards.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Lynlea, as well as about float hopes and Pool Scouts and allowing us to interview someone who's dyslexic and not comfortable in front of the camera and dig into your heart and dig into your mind. We really appreciate that you stepped out of your comfort zone and joined us, because I think this is a program people need to know about. And I think your message about treating others as we want to be treated is a powerful one. I'm definitely going to give that a lot of thought this next several days to see if every interaction, if that's really what I'm doing rather than me, right? So how do people learn more about Pool Scouts? What's the best way to learn?
Probably poolscouts.com would be the easiest, quickest way to learn. Yes.
Okay. And somebody will just reach out to them and go from there.
Mhm.
Perfect. Thank you, Lynlea, for joining us, and Stacy for jumping in while you're on vacation to help me out while Tracy is dealing with life matters. I really appreciate
Yeah.
being here.
No, my pleasure. And Lynlea, you have a beautiful story. So it was really inspiring to learn more about you.
Thank you all for taking the time to listen.
Yeah. We love a good story. And thank you to the rest of you listening in to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships are forged. We'll see you next week on another edition.